All right, so this is Kenny Santos out of Toronto, Canada for KennySantos.com. Do you want to know how to get your team, or to, I shouldn't say get your whole team, but to get most of your team or more of your team to take action? Because, when you started this business or when you got into the profession of network marketing, you always thought, well, you know what, I'm going to build my business and I'm going to find more reps and they're going to build their business. And you thought it would kind of duplicate out that way. But then you find out the reality. You might recruit 1, 2, 3, 10 people, and you'll find out a very small percentage. And sometimes for a lot of people, that percentage is 0% actually duplicate. They don't work as hard as you hope they don't work as hard as you hope they would, because when they joined, they were all gung-ho. They're excited about the product or the service. They were excited about financial freedom. But then when it comes down to it, they just don't do the work. And the reason why they don't do the work, there's a couple different reasons. Maybe they're not as motivated as you thought they were. Maybe the work is harder than they thought it would be. And there's a couple reasons for that. Maybe you made it look easier than it is. Maybe they're too shy. They thought that they would do the work. They thought they would reach out to people, but they're just too shy. They're too nervous. All right. And there's some people, they just don't know what to do. Now, when I first joined this profession, and this was back in like 2003 or something like this, we're going on almost 20 years. I had an awesome mentor. Her name is Sherry. You might know who she is. She's actually with Bank, right? Sherry Tree. Awesome mentor. And she was really, really good at motivating. But the thing was, just like a lot of leaders at her time, basically said, let's get, do what you can, just get people to the meeting. Now, what that translates into today is that there's not so much meetings anymore. There's more like online presentations, or there might be webinars, or there might be pre-recorded presentations. But whatever the case may be, your job is to get butts in seats. Your job is to get eyes on the presentation. And you might tell your new rep, okay, you know what, get people to look at the presentation, but they still don't know how to do that. And what I found is, even though I thought that they, that the company, has kind of like this method of operation. And so, what, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. Even though there's something like that almost every network marketing company has, there's still a large percentage of people that just don't take action, or the action that they take is so small that they don't really get the results that they hope that they were gonna get. And so this is a way for you to assist your reps in taking action. And as a result, they're going to get more sales and signups. They're going to get the results closer to what they had hoped. And so, don't just give them a checklist, and say, okay, first do this, first make your list of people, or first, practice this script, or whatever the case may be. My advice to you is to do it with them, to demonstrate it first, show them how it's done, and then watch them do it, and then give them pointers along the way. It's much the same as like starting a job. Many of you know I used to be a nurse, and when I went through nursing school, I went through clinicals. They're called capstones or clinicals, depending on where you're from. And I would spend some time unpaid. Actually, I paid to be there, but I would spend some time to get trained on the floor. And they would say, this is how you, for example, put an IV in. This is how you take a blood pressure. This is how you measure someone's vital signs, X, Y, and Z. You'd learn that. First of all, you'd learn that in study in the classroom, and then you'd actually put that into practice. And in order for me to graduate, I would have to do that. But then even after I got the job, I spent, how long was it? At least 2 weeks in hands-on orientation. Now, this was paid, and I would kind of relearn some of the same things. But they would be a little bit different because every hospital does things differently, or every employment or every workplace does things differently. And they would tell you, okay, this is how we use, these are the IV pumps that we use. This is how we use them. All right. Because I might not have been trained at nursing school. I might have used a different IV pump or whatever the case may be. I may have used a different piece of equipment. And the same would go for, I would imagine, any other profession, whether you're a butcher, a baker, candlestick maker, whatever the case may be. it's better to learn. It's easier to learn with the hands-on experience. And I found that that replicates well when it comes to network marketing. Instead of saying, okay, go have people look at the presentations and then have them talk to me, instead do it with them. And when I first started, it was all about making phone calls. And while I still like phone calls, I realized that this profession has changed to, they're not so much phone calls, they're more like reach outs. All right. And the reach out may be through text messages or through some sort of private messaging, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, you name it, WhatsApp, there's a whole handful of them. And so whatever the case may be, is that you show them how it's done. You may give them a script to use, right? Whether they are phoning their friends and family or they're texting them or whatever the case may be. And what's nice is that if you can do this one-on-one, that's great. But if you can do this with 2 or more reps, it's even better, because then they can role play with each other. They can actually role play, they can mock call each other. They could all be in the same room, or it could be all in a Zoom call or a conference call or whatever the case may be. And then you could say, okay, Bob, go ahead and pretend to call Al and prospect him for the business. And then Al would do the same thing to Bob. And then we would have a discussion on what they could improve upon. And it would give them, a lot of practice, and that practice would give them confidence. Now, once they have that little bit of practice, right? And, sometimes some of that practice, they could actually watch you do live calls, which is always more more of a learning experience when they get to watch kind of like the master do it. And you may not be a master, but you're good enough. You've recruited them, so you're good enough to show them how you are going to try and recruit other people. And that does a couple things for them. One, it shows them how it's done, but it also allows them to see that it's okay to fail. If you're someone that's only able to book 1 out of 10 people, then they're going to realize that they don't have to book everybody. Some people think, well, in order for me to be successful, I have to learn how to avoid the no's. And we all know that's just not the case. It gives them permission to fail. It gives them permission to be bad. It gives them permission to not be so polished in their presentation at first, because the more they do it, the better that they will become. I always use this example when I'm talking about practice makes perfect, is that when I first started playing Nintendo with my brother, we played Super Mario Brothers. He was better than me, right? He was older than me. He had more hand-eye coordination. He was just better. But the thing is that I spent more time playing video games than he did. And after a not so short or not so long period of time, I became better at him. He would get home from school later. He would have more of a social life because I was just younger. I was more involved with these video games. And eventually, not only was I better than him, I was far better than him. And it all has to do with the fact that I had spent more time playing the video game. All right. I had spent more time playing Super Mario Brothers Mario Brothers than he did. Now, the thing is that the same will go for prospecting. If someone is making 10 calls a day every day, they're going to be doing much better, or I shouldn't say calls. That's the old school version of me. Not just calls, reach outs. If they're doing 10 reach outs a day or 20 reach outs a day, it's going to be they're going to get better results, and they're going to get better skilled than someone who's only doing 1 to 5 a day, or even 1 to 5 a week. And so something to think about, it when they get to see you do it, it gives them permission. It allows them to not be so good, not to be so polished, and realize that, I don't have to be good. I just have to get it done. Because if you can tell them and really show them that it's not about the words that they say or even how they say it that matters the most. What matters most is the mindset of their prospect. And so it's more about sorting than kind of selling. All right. And if you can do that with them, right? If you can show them how it's done and then watch them make those reach outs, and then maybe give them advice as they're doing it hands on, just like I did in nursing school. And just like I did when my first hospital just hired me, I would shadow a nurse and she would show me how it's done. And then I would show her how to do it. And then she would correct me. That's the way it'll be so much easier for your reps to take action. And this will not get 100% of your team to take action. Some of them still won't. But what it will do is it will get more people to take action. Now, that percentage is going to be based on the type of people that you've recruited. But just imagine, let's say you have 10 people on your team and no one's taking action, but then you do this little workshop with them and two of them start taking action. That may inspire the other 8 to start. And in reality, you'll never get all 10 to do it. But what's cool is that if those 2 start to take action, they might recruit, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more people. Now all of a sudden your team of 10 is all sudden become a team of 15, and that's not even including your recruits. Let's say you're working as well, and so you're going to add another 1 or 2 to that. And so just after a short period of time, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, your team is growing. And then with those new people, even if you didn't directly recruit them, what I advise you to do and what I invite you to do is to do that demonstration with them as well. Have them sit down and role play. Have them sit down and practice. Have them sit down and you can watch them make calls. They can watch you make calls, and you can discuss how they can get better at this whole process. Because this process, while it's simple, it's not that easy for a lot of people. But once it gets easier, it becomes a lot more fun. And when it becomes a lot more fun, people tend to do it more. And when people do it more, they get better at it. And then all of a sudden your team is growing faster than otherwise you had just told people, okay, here's a script. Go ahead and get people to watch the presentation, whether it's online, webinar, whatever, how you guys do it, or just a video or whatever. And then, I'll see you after you have those people look at the presentation. That is a recipe for failure. However, if you sit down with them, tell them exactly what to do, show them how to do it, have them do it for you, and then you can make those corrections, you're going to get much better results. Your recruits are going to get much better results, and you're going to have a lot more fun in this business. So I trust you got some great value out of this. Again, what I invite you to do is, if you're getting value from this, I invite you to like, subscribe, share, or comment. It's a super easy way and a simple way for you to support my blog, to support my channel, to support more videos for free. And if you want to see more videos like this, go over to my blog. It's kennysantos.com. You could even put your name and email in, and you're going to get an awesome audio and growing your business. Now remember this, every day, multiple times a day, the universe sends us miracles. We only got to do 2 things about that. We got to recognize those miracles. And then, of course, my favorite part, we get to accept those miracles. All right, take care and create a great day.